Okay, welcome everyone to Project Generation. I'm here with Stephen and Judy Singer all the way from Jerusalem. Thank you very much for joining us. Those who remember the stalwarts of Stanmore community still are, just moved to Jerusalem. So I guess let's start with, where are you originally from, both of you, and how many years were you in Stanmore for?
Okay, so I came from Birmingham. I was born in Birmingham, and I moved to London in 1969, probably. We got married in 1970. Okay, and Stephen?
Well, I was born in Golders Green. I lived in Golders Green for my first 25 years, wow. Right in the middle of Golders Green, I have to say. So that was very interesting. We were opposite Rabbi Halpern Spiegel. Mm-hmm. Although in fact we went to the Hendon Adas, mm-hmm. and then we moved to North Hendon when I was 25. So we were there for 2 years and we got married, and we came straight to Stanmore. And we were in Stanmore for about 47, 48 years before we made Aliyah.
And I forgot to add that the name of our shul was Singers Hill in Birmingham, which is a funny coincidence because my surname became Singer. So that's your coincidence.
That's all right, coincidence. Gosh, so I guess two communities that have probably changed, or areas. Birmingham has changed, and like Hendon Golders Green has also changed. You're talking in currently at least, a post-Grudzinski's era on Golders Green Road, at least at the moment. We're not sure exactly what's happening. May it be rebuilt speedily in our days.
I went to school with the Grudzinski boys, so I know Grudzinski from the age of 5 from school.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Their name is well-known.
Wow. So that means you were in Stanmore for nearly 50 years?
Yeah, we had our 50th wedding anniversary here, and we've been here 3 years, so work it out. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh, wow. So if I had to prod you to name one or two maybe choice moments, they could be personal simchas, it could be events or milestones in terms of Stanmore. What stands out? And the truth is actually, what I'm asking, your earliest Stanmore memory.
Wow.
Earliest Stanmore memory. I can remember one of my favourite memories. It was a very personal one, and that is, for a number of years I davened on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur in Stanmore, and in fact, in the first year I did this, we had those services in the Scout Hut in Marsh Lane. Okay. And I remember I davened on Rosh Hashanah a couple of days, and a tremendous feeling of satisfaction having done this. I started off learning this davening at a relatively late age, and a tremendous feeling of satisfaction of having completed this.
Oh, beautiful. I hope you were there as well. I hope that was your standout memory as well, Judy.
It was one of them. Certainly, because I didn't come from London, it took me a while perhaps to settle into a new community, if you like. And I enjoyed it at the beginning, but I enjoyed it even more once I became more involved with the community. And this is probably a tip for anybody who joins a community, to try and be involved, as most people know. It makes it, then you have a feeling of belonging and connection. And I didn't start it, but it was quite a new group, the New Horizons, which many people might remember. And it was a community group, but non-fundraising, which was alongside the Ladies Guild, if you like. So we did interact with them. And it was a very powerful, enjoyable way to make friends and to be, active. And so that's something that I know a lot of people are active now.
You had a fur fashion show, didn't you?
We had a very successful fur fashion show, which raised money for Jewish Care. And through that, I started working for Jewish Care, because I went along with £1,000 check to deliver it to the day center, and they asked if they told me that the occupational therapist was leaving, so I offered my services. So that was how I started working with Jewish Care. So it was an interesting connection. Yeah.
That wasn't a deliberate prompt. That wasn't rehearsed, was it?
No, it just made me. I remember that. But it was very successful. It was very nice. The whole experience was good.
Wow, fantastic! And then also, I believe you were the new members committee and various other.
Yes, of course. I forgot. Yes, of course, I was involved in the new committee, and that's another thing I wanted to perhaps remind people whenever there's somebody new, a new face, it's a nice feeling for that person to receive a welcome. And I know a lot of the girls in the community do that now with new faces. But it's important not to be cliquey and always include new faces, new people into it. Because when you're settled in the community, you can sometimes be a little bit lazy and not make that effort.
Right. Right. No, you're right. Yeah, I can. When we have certainly younger families moving into the area, I should probably put that statistic out there. In the last year and a half, we've had around 30 young families become members, which is fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm young even by my standards. So
That is young.
Well done. Well done. I'm sorry we had to move.
So we often try, if when I found out their address or they call me, we often try and have one of the other young families to go around before a Shabbos just to say hello. I know there's an official new members committee. They'll drop round the pack just before that, to say hello. I think it's a lovely thing.
Absolutely. It's a small thing to make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So if we segue, I haven't even mentioned the pharmacy, by the way, but if we segue, still there, still with the name.
It carries my name. They wouldn't be customers. They wanted to change the name at one point, but some of the customers wouldn't have it, so they kept my name.
There you are. Fantastic. So if we segue then towards Israel. Now, you moved to Israel 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
Three. August 2017.
Wow. Okay. So I guess the first question is what caused the move? Was it a long-term ambition? Was there something, was there a catalyst?
Well, we have to be honest, because the grandchildren are here. The grandchildren are here. And so we wanted to be with them. I mean, having said that, of course, it was a tremendous thing to do. It was a wonderful move to make.
A big move. It was a big uprooting in many ways.
Right.
Because we have 3 sons, as you may know. One's still in Finchley, the other 2 in Israel, and our 5 grandchildren are in Israel. So it made sense. Stephen retired, and I had to. It made sense to be connected to them more closely, which of course.
Right.
It was a wonderful move to have to make.
Yeah, it was a
wonderful move. We're grateful to them really for being here, so that we came across.
Amazing. And then how did you find the move? What were was there anything that you didn't envisage? London, the pace in London and the pace in Jerusalem, very, very, I mean, we did the opposite move, but very, very different.
The pace is very different, and I sometimes reflect. In fact, I reflect when I see what's going on in Israel, in the sense of the innovation and military success and all these things, the fantastic things that are being done, and compared with what we're doing in Jerusalem, in our corner of Jerusalem, it's really very quiet.
But we live in a bubble, obviously, because that's how it is.
We live in a bubble, and
it's an Anglo community mainly, and mainly Americans, and we live in modern development in Bekaa. And some people obviously know Jerusalem, they may know Emek Rafayim, so it's very near there. And we do live in a nice place. We overlook a park, and actually Stephen can tell you more, but they daven outside, literally, our mirpeset, our balcony, so I can see. I don't even have to go to shul, because that's where everybody has to go, is outside.
And we've got a choice of 2. One is in the shade and one is in the sun, so we can choose which one. There's one for Shacharit and one for Mincha.
And clearly, if you've got a balcony, then that's an inbuilt ladies' gallery then.
Almost.
And if I wasn't feeling well or something, I could have done for the done. Well, thank God that hasn't occurred.
Only one side of the balcony is open, so it's not too hot, and that's good as well. So yeah, it works well. And I must admit though, when we first came and I just looked at the whole building, I couldn't envisage anything. It was just one big dark area. But slowly it got built properly, and now it's a lovely home. Yeah.
And we belong to Nitzanim, which is a big shul. It's probably about the size of Stanmore, really.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily in a membership, but it's what the Americans call it, the place where you've done. There's an American word for it. is large, and we've got a lovely Rabbi Finkelstein, Shai Finkelstein,
The young rabbi.
very clever, very sharp,
Very
tremendous shield and a tremendous mensch, and
Very
someone to
friendly.
watch.
Very
Someone-
friendly, and so it makes a difference being outgoing like
Very
that.
welcoming.
Yeah.
But not all, it's not all shorts in Israel.
And the other thing is that just when I arrived, I didn't know anybody, and I sort of spoke to somebody who seemed to be involved in running, if you like, part of the activities, and she was starting a new group called the Get Together Group, but now it's called the Not Get Together Group. But we have WhatsApp from the Not Get Together Group, but we have a book circle as well, and slowly, hopefully, things will get more busy, but at the moment, that's what it's like.
Amazing. If we could, I can just, with one eye on the clock, if just another couple of questions, if that's okay. I guess the first one would be, what advice would you have if people are looking to effectively emulate, in other words, also move from a vibrant community in London towards Israel, let's say in their somewhat older years? What advice would you give them?
Right. Well, prepare. Like in everything, in every job you want to do well, it's all in the preparation. And there's lots of people out there willing to help you, and you have to find them. And it's all in the preparation. And also have a sense of humour. Have a sense of humour.
Patience and a sense of humour are essential.
And everything's going to be a bit different. Everything from it's an excellent medical system, right? But it's different. And
the language. We went to Allpan, we continue, we both have now a volunteer phoning us and having a Zoom with us. It is a little bit of an uphill struggle, but slowly one gets more confident, and we get away with English, of course, a lot.
Right. My wife found that when we lived in Israel, I mean, we were there married for 10 years nearly, found that as much Hebrew as she learnt, whenever she called up and tried to speak Hebrew with a Mancunian accent, invariably she'd be answered in English.
Yeah, that's very helpful, actually. But you're right. But we feel that you feel more connected if you do understand a bit more in the supermarket or whatever.
And you need patience. You need patience.
You need patience.
You have to be prepared to sit on the phone. It won't take 2 minutes like a UK phone call. It may take 2 hours, but if you persist and you have the skills and you'll get there.
One funny anecdote: I was in the supermarket and there was a queue, and I wondered why. And the cashier, he was a Cohen, and he was giving a bracha to one of the people in the queue with his hat, with him standing. So I thought, well, if he's doing it for her, perhaps for the rest of the queue. And he did. He went through people giving that. It was just, you wouldn't find it anywhere, would you? That was just so funny, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but there are plenty of stories, I'm sure, like that. But anyway, we're doing all right. Thank you. We're doing all right.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. That's great.
We are keeping our distance from our little grandchildren because we have to, but we see them in the park, and so that's fine.
Right, that's so sweet. Do they live far from you?
About between a kilometre and a mile. So
oh wow!
In Katamon.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's a walk.
Walkable.
It's a pleasant walk on the Shabbat.
Yeah.
Through a park. And so it's great.
It works. That's why we live in this area. Hopefully they won't be moving.
We go to them at the moment. They were surprising us on Shabbat after lunch. So it's nice.
Amazing. Brilliant. Okay, well, I guess since you're talking about a Cohen, I think we'll close this by giving those who are watching a bracha. I guess we can, a blessing that please God, everyone should also merit to both live in and see grandchildren nearby in Israel. And of course, we should only know health and good things. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you very much. And we do keep in touch with our friends.
Yes, come and see
so
us.
We know what's going on.
Anyone can come and see us if they.
We're always welcome to visitors once people can visit. Sure.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.